Alright y'all, so we got the Z2 here. It's the latest addition to our fleet. We're going to do the first hydro change on it. You're supposed to do it after the first 100 hours. These have the 3800 Transaxles, which has the oil cooler up here. And it's got this little switch, this little valve that you have to switch back and forth whenever you're doing the change. You have to do one wheel motor at a time because it goes through this oil cooler and it's weird. But we have to get this little pump here to pump the oil back into the system, and it can't go over 10 psi. I think we got this on Amazon or somewhere for like 40 bucks. So this will be the first time we've ever did anything like this. Alright, so the first thing we got to do is take off this little plate with the 4 nuts in the back. It's 1/2-inch nuts. Put those things so tight from the factory. I don't understand that. Now getting this out is tricky. Not really. Alright, next thing, we're going to jack it up and put it on jack stands. So I picked up this jack from Harbor Freight for a couple of $100 not too long ago, and I really like it. I found a lot of uses for it. It even has these things to where if you need to get lower profile, like we're going to need on this one. Jack stands. So we jacked up the mower, put a block of wood here to chock the front wheels, because when you lower it down it kind of wants to shift a little bit. But we got it on jack stands. To take the oil filter off, it's kind of in a tight spot, but I have these, which I'm hoping is going to work pretty good. This is usually what I use. Kind of got a finagle in there.
A few moments later.
I'm going to try these and see if this works. Alright, we got it loose. Alright, so these are the ticket. You kind of crushed the filter a little bit, you know, squeezing down on it because you have no choice. But I got it loose. Put your pan underneath. And we're coming out quickly. Alright, so we got the filter here. Here's the part number 52114 from Hydro Gear. I've already pre-lubed the rubber gasket here. I just took some fresh oil, and this is the oil I'm going with. I usually try to find the cheapest oil I can find for the Hydro Gears. I haven't had any issues with the cheap oil. This is what I'm going with. Alright, so what we got to do now is take this little dust cover off, this little nipple thing. It's got a little clamp holding it on, like so. And you can pull that off. put that aside. So that's what where we're going to pump the oil back into the system. All right, so what you want to do is release the valve here. In order to do that, you just turn it counterclockwise and then shift the valve to the right hand because we're doing the right hand wheel motor. All right, so we're trying this pump out here. We got it from Grainger. It was like $45. It has this little skinny tube that comes with it, which is supposed to be the part that you pull from the container and then it goes out the other way. That doesn't work for some reason. We've tried it and tried it and tried it. But we did take another tube just like this one and put on this side and it transfers it over just fine. So we also have this hose that we added to it. This is from our sprayer. This fits into this hose, which is the output of the pump. And we have it on there. So we're gonna pump oil into it when it comes time and see if that works. All right, so we went ahead and put the new filter on. We screwed it on as tight as we could with our hand. To take it off, we had to use this, and it kind of bent up the filter pretty bad. I don't want to use this to tighten it up. All right, so we're going to transfer the oil. Now that we have the filter screwed on, and we're only doing one wheel motor at a time, I'm going to put this port right here. Seems to be a nice little spot for it. Stick this in there. And I think it holds 2 quarts in each wheel motor, so we'll see. That's not good.
Several bad puns later.
Can't tell if it's going through or not.
I see movement. Okay. Is that quarter? Yeah, it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on. What's the pass? Is this all in? I think I'm done. I'll try it.
Very much.
It's only just slow. So
one of the things we're going to do here is I'm not trying to get every single ounce out of these quarts because it's just too hard to get every little thing with this pump. And I'll just pour the remainder of each one into 1 quart later. And we got oil all over this lawnmower. Making a mess. So I don't know why Ferris decided to design this way, or hydro gear. Y'all should have thought something better than this. Ridiculous. Probably why no other company has adopted this method. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do, it says in the book to start it up and let it warm up, put it to the full throttle position for about 30 seconds and then kill it. Kill the ignition. So we're gonna do that. The next thing it says to do is to pump more oil into it until you get to the cold full line, which is basically right here, like that one. So we're going to pump until we start seeing it at the bottom right here. You don't want to pump this too fast either, because it'll create too much vacuum and it might mess something up, I would imagine. So it looks like we're where we need to be right here. The mower is kind of down in the front, so it's going to look a little bit more full the way it needs to be. I think when you level it out, it'll get more down here. So we're going to just leave this in the quart because we have to do the other side after we finish the cycle. So we're going to leave that set up right there. Alright, so before you go to the other wheel motor, you want to bring this back to the center and lock that in place. You don't want to go to the left side yet until you drain the filter and all of the oil and put the new filter on, and then you want to switch it to the left hand. So that's what it says in the instructions, so that's what we're going to do. So I had to use my special tools to take this side off. The good old screwdriver through the oil filter trick. Had to punch it through it, turn it, punch it through it, turn it. Ridiculous how tight they put this on from the factory. And then it's pretty boogered up too from the channel locks I was using, as you can see. But it's off, we're gonna let it drain now. Alright, so right here, it says do not add oil to the system through the transmission oil expansion tanks. That's these over here. After draining the oil from the transaxle, the oil must be added through the transaxle service valve, and that's the little valve we're adding it to. Now that the oil is drained out of the other wheel motor and we put the new filter on, we're going to just turn this clockwise so we can put this on the left hand wheel motor, and then we do the same process again. So one of the things we're doing is we're watching this quart. There's a little sight right here where you can see how much oil you have in your quart. Otherwise you can't really tell if the oil is going through it. So that's what we're doing. We're watching it slowly coming out of the quart. So I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but it takes 2 quarts per wheel motor to fill them up initially, and then you can add the oil into the reservoir after the whole process is done, like later, if it's low, you know, once it's purged itself. But you may have to get more than 2 quarts. You'll probably have to get 3 quarts because the amount of oil that stays in the pump, you know, it takes a lot too. And it's hard to get every little drop out. So you may have to get 3 quarts per side in order to do it right. And we're going to transfer to another quart here. It's just a lot easier when the quart's full. Yep. Looks like it works better when you go slow and you pause in between. You can see it flow more, it seems like. All right, now that we have about 2 quarts in there, because it's kind of hard to get, gauge, you know, but we got about 2 quarts in there. We're going to do just like we did the other side. We're going to start it up, let it warm up, and put it to full throttle for 30 seconds, and then shut it down. So now we're going to pump some more into it until we see it at the full line. All right, so we're both right past the coal line. Now I don't know how this system works exactly, but I've noticed ever since we got the mower that the levels never stay even for some reason. Like as you use it throughout the day, like they'll fill up and Some will have in this tank more and some will have that. Alright, so now that we have the oil and both at the cold full line in the reservoir tanks, I'm going to put this back to the center and then put that to where that stays, where that can't go anywhere. And then we disconnect our hose right here very carefully. And then we put our dust cover back on the little valve. And pinch the little clamp closed, like so. All right, the next step is to purge the air out of the system. And the way to do that is you want to pull these bypass levers back. And you want to start it up. You're going to need to have it in park in order to start it, obviously. After it's started up, release the park brake and use the controls to go back and forth about 5 or 6 times. So now we're going to re-engage the transaxles. We're going to start it up and do the same thing all over again, real slowly. Alright, so I'm going to lower it back down, get it off the jack stands. I'm not going to put this plate back on just yet because I want to keep an eye on any leaks or anything. So what I have to do now is just drive it around as normal and listen for any loud noises or anything. It should be quiet. It should also feel normal, you know, with the response and everything. And over time, after using it for a while, you may have to add oil into this because it may have some air left trapped into the system that's going to purge itself out. So right now, you can see this one's, you know, right here, and you don't see hardly any in this one. And that's what I was talking about earlier. With this system, you can't really go by keeping those even. Sometimes this one's more full than that one. I don't know why the system works that way, it just does. But let's see, what else am I missing? Oh yeah, and as you use it for a little while, you may have to add some oil to the system, and you can add it through the tanks after you've done the whole procedure, you know, with the pump and everything. All right, so I'm gonna go try it out, drive it around outside for a little bit.